spending your precious time with us. This is Ogtv and the program is Expression. My name is Becky Thorpe. How are you today? How is your family? Compliments of the season. I hope you are getting ready for the Christmas celebration. All right, today on Expression, we shall be taking a look at child battering, punishment or discipline. When you talk about bringing up a child, training up a child, do you necessarily have to beat up the child because you want to instill discipline? And at what point does discipline becomes punishment or maltreatment? Well, joining me on this conversation is the president of the Organization for Ladies Affairs and Gender Sensitization, Pastor Olanle Shuremi. Hello, Ma.
Thank you for having me on the program.
All right, thank you very much for coming. How's the family?
We thank God.
All right, so it's like you're a little bit under the weather.
Oh, well, let's say stress of work. This is the season of so much.
All right.
And we thank God for the opportunity.
Thank you for please just letting us into your privacy to tell us about women and children. But today we're going to be focusing on children. That's child battering. So now, how would you describe child battering?
Okay, first, with all that's going on around, I've realized that we've mixed a lot of definitions.
Okay.
And a lot of words are being used to replace different words.
Okay.
Beating, or when they say spare the rod and spoil the child, and people say smacking and all that, is different from battering.
Okay.
Battering is actually, one thing that makes battering stand out is actually that repeated act. Okay. It's a repeated thing till that child is worn out. And it's not just the physical beating. It could be the emotional battering. When you say words to a child over and over, that brings that child down until that child is bent emotionally or even psychologically. Same way, if you have to beat a child because this child poured water, bam, you hit the child severally. The next time the child does not say good morning and is loud enough for you to hear, you hit the child, bam. When it becomes repeated, continuous, over everything and anything, then we are looking at battering.
Battering. Okay, what are the major causes of battering a child?
I've seen that two main major causes that I could highlight, and which have some other small under them. First is, most of the time, people who batter children, they were battered as children.
Okay.
So they learned to see that until I beat this person to submission, I don't own this thing. That's how they were trained.
Okay.
You will hear people say, when I was with her mother, this was what she did to me, even worse.
Wow.
So it's not like
the transfer of aggression.
Yes.
Okay.
So they were battered. Some, they saw people who were battered and couldn't fight for themselves. So they decided, no, I'm going to take charge before somebody stands up against me.
Okay.
So when that is behind their mind, and that is basically usually upbringing, the early years of the childhood is very important. They take in a lot of things. Most of the things we are doing now as adults, we took them in as children.
Okay.
So battering comes most of the time. Yes, we have in a country where a lot of people are just aggressive. Any small thing, you see two drivers on the road, we are angry, everybody's just shouting. And I told somebody, I said, let's just allow it to pass. And people say, we must talk. I said, it's not every time we need to talk. I said, see, even that man that is talking is not angry with you. Trust me. he's angry with so many things and he's just looking for the nearest opportunity to let it out.
Okay,
so sometimes as parents, if we don't know how to know that these children are not the cause of what I'm going through right now, maybe I don't have money to buy, they are this, they are that, and then it's because of you. And yes, you have those who were probably molested as young adults.
Okay.
And then that child came as a result of that.
Okay.
And so every time they see that child, they are saying the reason why they are not who they think they ought to be.
Okay. Okay, now let's take a look at why would an adult want to hit a child repeatedly?
Because that adult does not really understand that that child is not his or her own. Okay. Because that adult thinks, I'm an adult, so I can do anything. That adult does not really understand why God gave him or her that child, even if he's as a guardian.
Okay.
It's a privilege to train another life, to form and mold a life.
Okay.
It's a privilege that God gave to us. Sometimes they are not even your biological children, but you have opportunity of saying, sit down there, get up, and they can ask you about their life. It's a privilege. So when you don't really know the use of a thing, abuse is inevitable.
Okay, when you don't know the use of a thing, abuse is inevitable. Now let's take a look at children. We know children as toddlers, even as babies, as toddlers, they can sometimes be defiant, mischievous, naughty, and what have you. Now, how do you correct the child without spanking?
Okay. The first is, what have you really been doing with that child from when you think the child cannot identify things? A lot of parents start when they think it is time to correct. You are not giving the child anything to work with. The child used to cry for everything and you quickly run and answer. You didn't know when to stop and let the child know, wait.
Okay.
Because children, they are actually trainees. And they learn by what you do, not basically what you say.
Okay.
So when a child cries for something, say, don't touch it. Just start crying. Say, oh, well, give it to the child. I don't want noise. The child has won that battle. The child will master crying for that thing and more things. So the day you now feel, no, this cry is enough, and you start beating, you're actually doing that child an injustice. Because you've trained the child by your attitude to get everything he or she wants by crying or by disturbing you. But when you learn to talk to the child early, I tell ladies, from the time you start thinking of getting pregnant, start talking to that your born child.
From the womb?
Yes, even from before you conceive. Once you start as a married woman saying, I'm ready to conceive, start speaking into that child.
Okay.
And when you confirm this baby is there, focus more on what you want that child to be. Talk to that child. Let the child get used to your friendly voice and then your motherly voice. They are two different things.
Okay, friendly voice and motherly voice. Viewers at home, this is Expression, and we are discussing child battering. Is it a punishment or discipline? At what point is bringing up a child becomes a punishment or discipline? And should we spare the rod and spoil the child, or will spoil the child and spare the rod? The phone lines will be scrolled on your screen for you to add your voice to this conversation. Let's take a break. When we return, we will continue with the conversation with Pastor Bolanle Shuremi.
Sex education is as important to children's development as intellectual education. To build children and help them avoid being victims of sexual abuse, there is need to teach sex education. Tell them the importance of effective communication. Teach them moral lessons. Empower the children to say no, even if it is an adult asking them to do something that is wrong. Be careful who your child is spending time with. Most cases of abuse is from close relations. Parent, know signs to look out for in the case of sexual or child abuse. You can give your children code word to use when feeling unsafe. Talk about sex education often. Children of today are leaders of tomorrow. Help children to avoid being victims of sexual abuse.
All right, viewers at home, the program is Expression, and we have been discussing with Pastor Bolanle Shuremi. Now, child battering. Pastor, now let's take a look at children who are unflinchingly defiant and stubborn. From our conversation before we went on break, you said one has to begin to talk to the child from the womb, get your motherly voice, get used to your motherly voice and what have you. Now, what are the different measures one can use in instilling discipline in a stubborn child, in a defiant child?
Okay, I have quite a number of children that the Lord has blessed me with, and of different ages, not biological. But there are children I could say, stop there. And they will just stop, you know. And their parents will not look back and say, why are you shouting on my child? You know. So I've seen that, number one, many parents don't understand the personality of their children. There's a particular family that I have like my own. They have 2 boys. The older boy is of a very quiet temperament kind of.
Okay.
He just goes on his own. But the younger one, very meticulous. He likes to take his decisions. He likes to think things through. But once he thinks it through, he acts. He's so full of energy. So it ended up that the second one always leads the first one.
Okay.
You understand? So what I do is, instead of blaming the first one, like, yeah, the older boy, you should lead you, I found out that, okay, this is the one that is leading in temperament. Let me take charge of this one. There was a particular session that happened just this last week, and I've told them, don't run around the church. Don't run, so that you don't fall. And then don't go injure yourself and then fall other children or hit, break chairs and all that. And he was running. I just did my hand like this. He just looked. He just slowed down. He was not taking the step one by one. Why? Because when he was much younger and even weeks before,
Okay.
I said, come, if you run again, I'm going to spank you twice. I tell them how many times.
So they know.
And it's age appropriate. For that age, is at the back of the hand. But you will feel it.
Okay.
Twice. So they know. Or I say, okay, go and take your Bible or take a book, read, sit with me. Oh, you can't stand that. Sitting for 5 minutes is serious punishment. So I don't need to beat him. So I just tell him read, and he will tell me what you have read for 5 minutes. And I keep doing what I'm doing. He won't get up. Okay. So you have to first understand, who is this child? That child is not you. So stop trying to mold the child the way you are.
Okay.
Stop trying to form in the child what you could not be. You see a lot of parents wanting to do that.
Wow.
So understand the temperament, the personality of each child. Don't compare them. Your brother will always sit down. Your sister will always do everything. You are this.
Okay.
No.
I find a lot of parents, I'm also guilty of it. A lot of comparison among siblings. Parents do it a lot. And sometimes you find out that the ones who are seen as the better sibling or the best of the siblings, they become sort of arrogant, heady, and the ones who are seen as the lesser ones, they feel very, very bad, and they begin to go back into their shell. So how can parents begin to balance and understand the personalities of their children and train them accordingly?
First, don't group them together.
Okay.
Talk to each of them separately. You might be in the car with them. Look for teachable moments.
Okay.
This one understands with pictures. So when you're driving them, don't just put on one funny music and they're just jumping at the back and they're shouting. No. You tell them, see that traffic light. It's going to change from red to green. From them, it's going to do that.
Okay.
Make something out of that. There's a time in your life you need to stop. There's a time in your life you need to get ready by preparing. And there's a time to go because you are fully prepared. Okay. The one who understands with pictures has gotten it.
Okay.
The one who understands with words has gotten it. You have done a teachable moment.
Okay.
And the one that is so active, give him or her something productive to do. In those days, they will tell us, come and be doing Ewedu. Till today, I don't like Ewedu because of that. Because we had a granny that all of us would be packed to her after school, all our parents, like cousins, everybody, so they pack all of us to her. Okay. And she's just there. So she was just one big tray.
Just keep
your parents come, once you take lunch, do your homework. We were not going to eat that Ewedu. But you'll be so busy. I mean, people will not shut. And when it's time for you to sleep, she will know where you're dozing and everything. She knows where to lay you.
Okay.
So the methods are still there. There's no straight jacket way of 6 steps of successful training of a child. Let God guide you. 1, 2, understand each of these children.
Okay. Okay, now let's take a look at the upbringing of those days in our times and in comparison with modern times. Do you think there's a correlation between the two? Are we getting it right, or the people of those days were far, far better in terms of bringing up our children? Because you see a lot of children who are defiant, they are stubborn, they don't go to school, there's truancy all over the place. So now, compare the upbringing now and then.
Well, in a bid for us these days to say we have the 21st century parenting, we know what to do, where our parents failed, we know. We went from one end to the opposite end.
Okay.
There are some things our parents didn't do well, in quote.
All right.
But it worked for them then. Some adults today are traumatized because of their childhood. It might not show easily, but somewhere, when their fathers come, they just hear the horn, bang, 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 everybody scatters. The lion of the house has come. So you first go and dodge until he calls you one by one. I know a family like that who were growing up. Once their father house were at the gate, everybody must run first. He mustn't meet you in the sitting room so that you feel like you are working, you are busy. Then you start calling them one by one. Then they will start greeting him. That is one end. Then you have those ones that just believe any small thing. They have this, there's Yoruba saying that the day a child pours oil, your palm oil, you don't beat that child. Wait for the child to pour water. You know, and then you smack the child for the water and then more importantly for the oil. Why? That child has even forgotten. So, and then some will tell you, wait till middle of the night when nobody will tell you, oh Tito, don't beat the child again. And you say, wake up. It's time for you to get your cane for what you did in the morning. No. But there were still some things they did then. I can still hear my parents' voice behind me when I want to take some funny decisions.
Okay.
One thing my mother will tell you, remember the kind of home you come from.
Okay.
And what kind of home? My parents were both civil servants, trying to live their lives quietly, making sure that their children get the best of education. They're sacrificing a lot. So when she tells you, even when she writes a letter to you in school, she will end it. Remember the kind of home you come from. So till today when I see, I'm like, Mommy, remember the kind of home you come from. Yeah, they did a lot of beating in those days. When my parents didn't really beat us, my father had this policy of sit them down and talk to them. Then when it's time, smack them and let them know why you are smacking.
Okay.
But 21st century parenting, we have moved to no beating, converse with the child over the wrong things, over the right things, just keep talking, and some just leave them, buy everything they need for them. That's the opposite.
Okay, now, we are talking about 21st century parenting, but we still find some people who have beaten children to death. There was this case in Ogbomoso of a woman who maltreated her niece, kept the niece at the back of the house, and was feeding her once in a week, a 7-year-old. What do you make of this kind of person?
You can imagine her niece. If you check that woman, something had happened in her childhood, and she's seen an opportunity to be the Lord and Master over a child who can't fight back.
Okay, I think we have a call. Hello, Kasali. Good morning. Hello?
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, good morning,
Hello,
sir.
hello.
Yes, good morning. Welcome to the show. Good morning, sir.
Well, I want to appreciate your conversation. I've learned a lot through that conversation.
Okay.
I just want to ask a question on a child that can do tomorrow's work with mouth today, but is now putting.
Hello, are you still there? Okay, you are talking about a child who will tell you he's going to do something today and he's not doing it. Maybe you give him chores to perform and he will just say, I'm going to do it, and he doesn't do it. So how do you handle such a child?
That means that child has a lot to do with procrastination.
Yes.
So first, let that child understand that that is a thief for time. Then sit on that child to do it immediately.
Okay.
It might not be easy at first, but take time. I have a younger brother who he was in charge of washing plates when we were much younger. So he will wait. He'll be doing all kinds of nothing, as in you can't find what he's doing. Then my mother will come in around 3:30.
Okay.
So he will look at the time. He say, Mommy will soon come. He will now run and carry all the plates and start washing everything. So make sure that he finishes before.
Don't tell me, barrister.
No, you know that's barrister. Okay, and he's an architect now. So when his children do that, I say,
So you're seeing yourself.
This is your DNA. He will wait till the last minute. When you say, time up, Mommy is here. Of course, when Mommy comes, say, plate, you take your abara first. And then you go and wash that plate. So you say, Mommy will soon come. He will not wash. At the nick of time, you say, I finished. So there's nothing Mommy can do again. I've really finished. What were you doing since morning? He's just waiting for that time. Now he's a very responsible father of 3 kids. So when the children are saying that, they say, go do it now. I said, it was in your DNA.
Okay, now let's take a look at our laws in the country. Do you think that our laws is at least, they have made provisions for a parent who batters and maltreats a child, or an adult who beats up a child? Okay, I think we have a call. Tony. Hello, Tony. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes, good morning, sir.
Yeah, I called in to appreciate your conversation this morning.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Your guest this morning has spoken very well.
Okay.
I grew up in a home brought up in a way to recognize that when my father gets to the gate of the house and the driver has to stay on, everybody scampers to safety. At a point, when you're going out in the morning, we all have things we do. There's a broom he will keep somewhere. It got took us time before we knew it. When he's now coming back, he will just go straight to where he has put that broom. And once he sees that broom there, he will now ask, did you sweep today? We say yes. And he will not bring his broom out. If you have swept, this broom won't be here. And sincerely speaking, it worked for us.
Okay.
Today, we are all better off for it.
Yeah.
But now the question is, these are our own children that we are having now. Can we ever bring them up in such a way? Because they already have a mind of their own.
Yes.
Social media is there. Peer pressure is there. The things they see, the things they hear, the things they watch and everything. At the same time, you still want to balance it in a way that you don't create a distance between you and the children. Now, I want your guests to attend to that.
Okay, thank you, sir. So,
Okay, thank you so much, sir. That's why I always tell parents, mark your own model. Draw your own mold for your own parenting. If you take everything flying around about what parenting these days should be, you will miss a lot of things. Like you said, sir, something worked for you, but it might not work like that because in those days you had maybe just 2 or 3 channels to watch. There's one of my big mommies, she just passed on. Whenever I'm with her on holidays, 6 o'clock, we've taken dinner. 7, everybody must be upstairs to go and sleep. 7 p.m. And then she knows that as children, we'll still come back downstairs to watch TV with our elder brother, who does not have the 7 p.m. timeout. So she will carry the TV from the sitting room, take it to her room, and then she will sleep. And then our own room, myself and our own last daughter, was just like a room from our own. So in the middle of the night, she will not on the light, she will carry small lantern. And she was a trained nurse. The way she will walk, you can't hear her steps. She will just to check if you are there.
do you think parents have that kind of time now to be doing all that monitoring and evaluation of their children's characters?
They don't
have the time
at all. They don't, because the country has taken so much away from their own peace.
Hello, Fumi. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ma. You're welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hello, Fumi. Please go ahead with your contribution, please.
You said child abuse.
Yes, child battering. Yes, we're talking about that.
Child abuse. Child abuse. One thing you said they should stop raping, yeah?
All right, Fumi, we cannot hear what you're saying. I think you should just call back. Please, can you call the call? Thank you.
Okay, so what we will need to do today is, what works today? Number one, I have a right to reduce my child's screen time.
All right, okay. So what's the way forward in all of this? Because time is no longer on our side. We have to go.
Let's just take it a step at a time. Take a little bit of what worked then that might be able to fit in today. And then make our children understand a lot of why we're doing what we are doing for them and with them.
All right.
These children today, you have to do a lot with them, not just on their behalf.
All right, thank you very much. This is where we have to draw the curtain on the program. The program is Expression. My name is Becky Thorpe, and the pattern shot is this. There is no greater inhumanity in the world than hurting or belittling a child. And if you want to see the value of a nation, pay close attention to the way they treat or mistreat their children. And for all children are pure, and not all adults are pure. So please, adults, watch the way you treat your children. Don't allow any child to feel bad or feel lesser than who they are supposed to be because you are maltreating them. Please have yourself a wonderful, wonderful weekend. God bless you. My name is Becky Thorpe. Cheers.